Are you planning to bring your spouse to the US? If that's a yes, then you're in the right place. Today we're exploring the complex world of spousal visas. Specifically, we're shining the spotlight on the CR1 and IR1 visas, both of which serve as a pathway for your spouse to legally live in the United States with you. These visas are crucial because they give your significant other the right to reside permanently in the US and eventually seek citizenship, if they so choose. That's a big deal. It's about uniting families, strengthening relationships, and forging new futures. But the journey to getting these visas can be quite intricate, filled with legal jargon, paperwork, and procedures that can seem daunting. Our goal is to simplify this process to make it less intimidating and more accessible. In the next few minutes, we'll break down this process into simple, easy-to-follow steps. First, let's understand what sets the CR1 and IR1 visas apart. The CR1 and IR1 visas are two types of U.S. spousal visas. However, they cater to different stages of marriage. The CR1, which stands for Conditional Resident, is for couples who've been married for less than 2 years. On the other hand, the IR1, or Immediate Relative, is for those who've been married for more than 2 years. Now, why does the duration of the marriage matter? Well, it's all about how the United States Citizenship and Immigration Services, or USCIS, views the permanency of the marriage. When a couple has been married for less than 2 years, the USCIS considers the marriage as a newer commitment. The spouse of the U.S. citizen is then granted a CR1 visa, which comes with conditional permanent residence. This conditional status lasts for 2 years and is meant to deter fraudulent marriages. On the flip side, when a couple has been married for more than 2 years, the USCIS sees the marriage as more established and stable. Therefore, the spouse of the U.S. citizen is granted an IR1 visa, which comes with immediate permanent residence status. This means no conditions are attached to their residency, and they can enjoy the full benefits of being a permanent resident right from the start. However, it's important to note that both visas allow the spouse to live and work in the United States. The main difference lies in the status of their residency, conditional versus immediate. Moreover, with a CR1 visa, the couple must file a petition to remove the conditions on the residency within 90 days before the 2-year anniversary of the spouse becoming a conditional resident. If successful, the spouse's status is then changed to a permanent resident. On the other hand, an IR1 visa holder doesn't need to go through this process. Now that we know the difference, let's dive into the process. The CR1/IR1 visa process might seem complicated, but it's straightforward once you know what to expect. This journey generally involves 3 key steps: submitting the I-130 form, waiting for approval, and attending the embassy interview. Let's begin with the first step, submitting the I-130 form. The I-130, or Petition for Alien Relative, is a document that a U.S. citizen or lawful permanent resident submits to U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, also known as USCIS. This form serves as the initial request for recognition of a familial relationship with a foreign national. The I-130 form is a crucial part of the process. It requires careful completion and must include supporting documentation to prove the legitimacy of the marital relationship. This supporting proof could be a marriage certificate, joint bank statements, or photographs that depict your relationship over time. Once the I-130 form is submitted, you move to the second step, waiting for approval. This process can take anywhere from 5 months to a year, depending on various factors. During this time, USCIS reviews the application and supporting documents. They may request additional information or documentation if needed. It's crucial to respond promptly to any such requests to avoid unnecessary delays. Upon approval of the I-130 form, the case is forwarded to the National Visa Center, or NVC. The NVC is responsible for gathering the necessary visa application and supporting documentation. Once everything is in order, they schedule an interview at the U.S. Embassy or consulate in the applicant's home country. And this brings us to the third and final step, attending the embassy interview. This is a face-to-face meeting with a consular officer. The officer reviews the application, asks questions to confirm the relationship's authenticity, and assesses whether the foreign spouse meets all requirements for the visa. Some tips for this step: be honest and consistent with your answers. Bring all original documents, including the police clearance certificate and medical examination results. And of course, relax. It's natural to be nervous, but remember, this is just a conversation to confirm what you've already put on paper. So, to recap, The CR1/IR1 visa process involves submitting the I-130 form, waiting for USCIS approval, and attending the embassy interview. While it may seem daunting, each step is manageable when taken one at a time. Remember, patience is key as this process can take several months. And while waiting might be challenging, the reward is worth it. The opportunity to start a life together in the United States. You might be wondering, how much is this going to cost and how long will it take? Let's first talk about the costs involved in the CR1/IR1 visa process. The total cost of this process can be somewhat daunting, but it's important to remember that this is usually spread out over several months. The initial filing fee for the I-130 petition, which is the first step in the process, is currently set at $435. After that, there's the National Visa Center fee, which covers the cost of processing your visa application. This is typically around $120. Next, there's the Affidavit of Support fee. This is a document that essentially guarantees that the U.S. citizen spouse will financially support the immigrant spouse. This fee is generally around $120. Then there's the visa application fee, which is currently $235. However, these are just the government fees. There might be additional costs such as medical examination fees, translation services, and travel expenses, which can add several $100s to your total cost. Now, let's move on to the timeline. The CR1/IR1 visa process is not a quick one. It typically takes between 7 to 10 months from the date of filing the I-130 petition to the issuance of the visa. However, this timeline can vary significantly depending on a number of factors, including the workload at the USCIS and the U.S. Embassy in the foreign spouse's country, as well as any potential issues that may arise during the process. It's important to remember that patience is key during this process. It can be frustrating and stressful at times, but keep in mind that the end goal is to be together with your spouse in the United States. So while it can be a long journey, it's all worth it in the end. Lastly, let's go over some requirements and tips for success. For the CR1/IR1 visa, there are a few key prerequisites you must meet. First and foremost, you must be able to provide solid proof of your relationship. This could be in the form of shared assets, photographs, letters, or any other tangible evidence that demonstrates a genuine, ongoing relationship. The next requirement is financial stability. Your income needs to be at least 125% above the poverty line for your household size. This is to ensure that you can support your spouse once they arrive in the U.S. Don't fret if you don't meet this requirement, as a joint sponsor can help bridge the gap. Now for some tips to increase your chances of success. Be thorough when completing your application. Ensure every detail is accurate and every question is answered. Inconsistencies could lead to delays or even a denial of your application. Prepare well for the interview. The interview is a crucial part of the process, and how you perform can significantly impact the decision. Be honest, clear, and make sure to bring all necessary documents. Remember, patience is key. The process can take several months, so it's important to stay calm and stay the course. It's a journey, but with careful preparation you can navigate it successfully. With these tips, you are now well equipped to navigate the CR1/IR1 visa process. So there you have it, the CR1/IR1 visa process explained. We've delved into the nitty-gritty, highlighting the differences between CR1 and IR1 visas. We've navigated the process, dissected the costs, and outlined the timeline. We've also unpacked the requirements and shared some invaluable tips for success. Remember, every journey begins with a single step, and with this knowledge, you're well on your way. We hope this video has been helpful. Here's to a successful visa application process.